Hello, everybody, dear CHIRLA members. This is Carl Bergquist, CHIRLA's General Counsel, and I'm here with a DACA update. On October 5th, Wednesday, this past Wednesday, we got another court ruling on DACA. And I wanted to tell you what that means right now and what we think will happen next and what we want to do about it. So on Wednesday, the court issued a ruling, and the big thing that I want you to take away from that I want you to know about DACA is that DACA continues as we know it right now. That means people who have DACA, keep it. People who have DACA that is expiring can renew it up to 5 months before. However, we still cannot have anyone apply for DACA for the first time. So no new DACA applications. That's one of the things that the court said, the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans, Louisiana. That's what they said on Wednesday. They also said that, unfortunately, they think DACA is an illegal program. It is unlawful. So that means that at some point, they would want DACA to end. However, they said about DACA that because the Biden administration, about a month ago, has created a new DACA program using a new process, that they want to look at that. They want to see, is that version of DACA legal? So that means that this court in New Orleans sent the case back to Texas, where we know there's a judge, Judge Andrew Hanen. He is the one who said last year in July of 2021 that DACA is illegal. So they want the case to go back to him. They said, hey, Judge Hanen, we want you to look at what the Biden administration did about DACA. Does that change your mind? Do you now think DACA is legal? So he's going to begin that process starting on October 14th, so next week, next Friday, he's going to start looking at that. He's going to talk to the government lawyers, to the state of Texas, which is trying to end DACA, and our friends at MALDEF, who are defending DACA. He's going to ask them all, how can we do this? How can we make this go quickly so we can assess the new DACA reality? Then they will probably submit some documents to the court. They may have a hearing on this, and then Judge Hanen in Texas will decide what he thinks. We think that likely, unfortunately, he will continue to say DACA is illegal, that he doesn't like it, that it was not created the right way, and that the president does not have the power to create something like DACA. So when he says that, he will send it back to the court in New Orleans, maybe this month, maybe next month, who will then say what they think about what he said the second time. So then once that happens, we still think, unfortunately, that the court will continue to say, the court in New Orleans, the Fifth Circuit, they will continue to say DACA is an illegal program and it must end. At that point, the Biden administration and MALDEF, if we get that kind of negative ruling, will appeal the case once more. The case would then go either to the full Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. So right now it was 3 judges that said they don't like DACA. They think it's illegal. It could be all of them, around 11 or 12 judges that would then decide the case, or more likely, the case goes back to the US Supreme Court. And they would then decide once and for all what they think about DACA. Is it a legal program? And you may remember that we were already at the Supreme Court. In June of 2020, we actually won at the Supreme Court. That's when the Supreme Court said that the former president, he tried to end DACA and he did that the wrong way. He was not allowed to do that. So we had a victory. This time, we're going to go back to the Supreme Court and we're going to get the final decision, not about who tried to end DACA, did they do it the right way, but is DACA a program that can exist? And we do not know a couple of things about that. We do not know when that will happen. It could be as early as June of 2023 if things move quickly. It could be the following year. We just don't know. It depends on how quickly all these other things I talked about happen. And at that point, they will decide. People differ on what they think will happen when the Supreme Court decides. They think maybe there are 5 judges on there, or 5 justices, that actually think DACA is legal. If so, DACA will survive. However, there's a big chance that there are 5 or more justices that don't think DACA is legal. At that point, they would then decide that DACA is an unlawful program and that it must end. So what we think is they would not say that it must happen immediately. It would take some time. They would probably say, okay, we cannot have any more renewals, but those who still have DACA at that point, whether June 2023, June 2024, whenever that is, they'll say, okay, the people who currently have DACA, they will get to keep it until it expires. This is the most likely scenario that we see playing out. Now, all of that means that we most likely think, unless we can win at the Supreme Court, that DACA will end. And the most important thing to do in the meantime is, of course, number one, to continue to renew your DACA when you can. Please contact CHIRLA. Please contact the Dream Resource Centers. Talk to your friends in the California Dream Network or at CHIRLA about when you should renew your DACA, so you get to keep it for the longest time possible. That's number one. And make sure you talk to your employers about that. So nobody tries to say that there's any issue with DACA they heard in the news, and if somebody knows that you have DACA and they try to talk to you about that, don't talk to them about that. Talk to CHIRLA, talk to the Dream Network, talk to an attorney if you have any issues with your employers. And most importantly, what we really need to be doing, and what CHIRLA is doing, is fighting for permanent protections, fighting for a path to citizenship, fighting for not just the current DACA recipients, but for those who never could get DACA because of what the Trump administration did, never could get DACA because the current program only allows people who came after 2007 to apply. So we need to fight for everyone and the parents of the DACA recipients. That's why CHIRLA is pursuing a campaign to update the registry. This is a part of immigration law that allows people who have been here a long time, living in the community, serving the community, paying into the community, especially during the pandemic, for them to adjust their status and to get a green card. So we have one bill now in the U.S. House of Representatives, and we have another in the U.S. Senate. These are championed by Representative Zoe Lofgren of San Jose and Senator Alex Padilla of California to update the registry so that anyone who has been here for 7 years or longer will be allowed to apply for a green card. This is the way to protect those who have DACA in the long run. This is the way to protect their family. This is the way to protect their community. And you can count on CHIRLA to continue to do advocacy around registry, and we will need your help because we can only do it together. And we do it because of our members. And you are our core leaders, and we thank you for that.